And we're live. Welcome back, Tommy.
Hey.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. You know what was the best part of my trip being gone?
Not having to do this podcast last week?
Well, there was that, but getting my haircut 2 days before I leave for Florida, and then having a hat tan, but not just the line, but the little insert on the back of the head. Like
oh yeah, yeah.
That was where it was at. Hashtag Team Callaway.
Hashtag snapback.
Snapback and tattoos, baby. That's what she said.
All right.
So,
Off to a hot start here on the PTP podcast.
so pretty sure Joe's going to be joining us today. Well, no, I mean he'll be dialing. I'm sure he'll be commenting in because we were talking about Ricky all weekend long through Twitter. Really hating on the orange Puma hat, just like he was last week. And I can't help but agree after he missed the cut. I mean, he played really well on Thursday or on Wednesday and then went to the South Course and just fell the fuck apart.
Hey, if you can't make it, fake it till you make it, you know?
Pee-pee-poo-poo
He's just trying to find that big Rick energy, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just tired of seeing him on every commercial if he can't make a cut.
You leave Dick Fowler PI alone.
All right, so welcome back to Tommy. Me and Matt held down the fort last week, somewhat, kind of, sort of.
The best podcast that we've ever done, specifically because Tommy was in Florida.
Oh my gosh, sorry. I would say we didn't have the absurdity of just the random pulling names out of my ass, Bronson Burgoon.
Hey now.
No,
I'm
stop it.
I'm
Stop.
also going to say that I do kind of miss that Sawyer's not going to be a more involved part of the podcast. He did a very nice job last week as executive producer. He did. He was a man on a mission on the phone. Oh, he's still here. Absolutely. Looking for some input. So let's hit this recap because we are kind of on a time crunch this week. We usually go a little over an hour. We can't do that. So, we'll start with Luke List. I've been plugging Luke List for the 2 seasons of this podcast. Tommy, you can vouch for that.
Yeah, I know. I was really upset because everyone that we've been talking about all week, both Hudson Swafford winning the week before because I didn't get to talk about that.
Yep.
And then Luke List and Zalatoris being in a playoff. I was like, are you? And I didn't bet it all last week. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? All these guys we've been talking about for 16 months finally are coming to fruition, and I have no money on them. Come on.
So
Come on.
I had the top 2 this week. I made some money. It was kind of fun. I didn't bet as much as I should have. I'm a little disappointed. But Luke List wins in a playoff against Happy's caddy, birdie in 18 in the playoff. Finally, after 2 years of pulling for the guy, he gets one. I'm telling you, he's a guy that you got to look out for throughout the year. The putter leaves him from time to time, but every other part of his game is a lot of fun to watch.
I have a great take right now on Luke List. I just got out of what's called an elite fitting Callaway workshop essentially. They're putting me through their master fitting program, which I'm really thankful for. Where I just got to talk to Sean Toulon, actually, of all people, person to person. We had a full on conversation. I told him, we're bringing in Toulon putters, and he's his dad's from Erie, and they're thinking about making an Erie model. I said he should make the Amish buggy model. It was a good time. We're basically best friends now. But one of the other things that came up was Luke List putter, and Sean Toulon straight up is like, yeah, not my most beautiful creation, but he doesn't really have a beautiful putting stroke, so it works.
That's awesome.
I'm just shots fired, and Sean probably thought he said that in confidence, but here we go. It's out there now.
Well, we all know because I've been picking Luke List to win a tournament for the past 2 years that he's definitely watching, so he now knows. Let's keep jumping. Zalatoris, the putting. Him being in the hunt, so let's just
crack your knuckles here.
He is a good lag putter. The fact that his 3-foot putting is what kills him is just insane. He needs to call Bob Rotella and go and sit in his office and talk about putting because he looks so mechanical and awkward that it makes me want to fucking puke.
You know what's the nicest way to say you're a bad putter? You're a really good lag putter.
Exactly, right? But what else it shows is that being a good putter is not as important as everybody wants you to think on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
he did not putt that 18th birdie putt on hole 18. He just didn't hit a putt. He didn't hit it firm enough. Otherwise, it drops, and he wins the tournament. That speaks volumes to me of what putting is in the PGA right now. It also speaks volumes to why Rahm got so butthurt the week prior when it was a putting contest. Well, I kind of like now that there's putting contests. If you don't need to be a good putter to win some tournaments, you better fucking have to be a good putter to win other tournaments. Right. So, I'm even less of a Rahm guy now. After this week, but
well, that's the one where you say, what sets apart, a good amateur, a mini tour player, and a PGA Tour player. Everybody says the putting,
right?
So make it a putting contest, great.
Realistically, Zalatoris, you guys were saying how bad that stroke was on 18.
It was horrendous.
It wasn't the way you made it sounded like it was like. Atrocious.
No, that wasn't a terrible putt.
Him and Dan were saying
that wasn't a terrible putt.
They made it sound
just
like
left
it was
short
of the century. I was like, okay, first of all, it was an 8-foot putt, but I guess he missed multiple 3-foot putts throughout the week, and
he did.
That's what really loses.
There was a birdie putt on I'm so screwed up with this Saturday finish. There was a birdie putt on Friday that I think he was about 3.5 feet, and it wasn't close.
But going back to your point about putting not being that important, I talk to people all the time.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I said it was hard to watch so many times. Is the greatest stat that improves your score is greens and reg. And so how do you do that? You hit the ball not even on the fairway, somewhere where you have a second shot into the green. If you're long, that means you're gonna have shorter clubs in, and then you have a short club in with a clear shot to the green. These guys are good enough to hit, all 18 even out of the rough,
Yep.
And then where does it take, this is more of an advanced stat that's more for, PGA guys. And then once you're talking about guys who's hitting 15, 16 greens or at least 13, and then it's how close can you hit it to the hole in proximity is really the next stat that's going to differentiate them, because putting is probably only the third or fourth stat within reason that's going to, unless you're hitting 40 putts or something,
right?
That's going to determine your score.
So let's move on here. We got J-Day. I think he firmly put himself in the conversation as a comeback player of the year candidate if he looks like that the rest of the season. The one thing I did notice after the hole out on 14, or was it 15?
15.
On 15, he fell apart. You could see the adrenaline just got the best of him. The next 4 or 5 shots in a row were just horrendous. Yeah, couldn't find the center of the club face.
Yikes!
Yeah, it was bad. But he looks like he has a healthy swing right now, and I like his putting any week. So we'll talk about him more when we get to the AT&T.
I do want to say, this week, just while we're somewhat within the topic, J-Day and putting and Sean Toulon. My dad texted me and goes, "I need that Jason Day putter." I said, "Dad, it's a $450 putter." He goes,
"Oh, it's more than that because it has the red stroke lab in it."
Yes. He goes, "I want that."
We were talking about that in the meeting as well. It came up that Jason Day and Luke List, both non-Callaway guys, were playing either an Odyssey or a Toulon putter. I think it was the San Diego. I think he was playing, or was
List? No, he's
the J-Day.
It's the Daytona.
Daytona. Was it? I thought they said something else.
No, it's the Daytona.
With the red stroke lab.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. But that was funny. My dad
300 locations nationwide that carry Toulon putters.
A nice little plug there. We try and plug the place pretty good.
There you go.
So next on my my list from the Farmers Recap, John the Volcano Rahm. First, I want to point out I jumped on Twitter does this new live cast thing, and I jumped on with a group of Canadian guys that do a golf podcast. That they get a bunch of guests. One guy's a former mini tour player, and we were talking about it. And I was like, listen, he's a cold-blooded player. He wins. Or he's cold-blooded. He's always in the hunt. I was like, but I'd like to see him just run away with a tournament sooner or later. He never does that. He always wins by a stroke or comes back late and fights back into it. He doesn't have that DJ, I'm going to take it and just run away win yet in his career. In fact, he only has one worldwide win since 2019. Now, it should be 2 because of the Memorial.
Robbery. He also had to withdraw 4 other tournaments due to COVID.
Well, then
Pre-wrap.
figure your life out. Get the vaccine.
He is vaccinated.
Well,
He's literally just the least lucky person when it comes to COVID. I didn't even know you could get it 4 times. It's wild.
So I don't think he's had to withdraw 4 times. I think it's twice.
Yeah. Well, he had to withdraw, like you said,
Memorial, and then it was one other tournament. So it was one other tournament. So I went back through all the stats because I didn't believe it when they were talking about this on No Going Up today. But he has not won an event outside of the U.S. Open since 2019.
What a tournament to win that. What a guy.
Great tournament to win. But, when's he going to start winning? I mean, are you going to start talking about him the same way we talk about Xander Schauffele?
Oh, come on.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Here's the thing, and I texted you this on Saturday.
Listen, I'm not that's not what I'm saying, Tommy. But let's be honest here.
I texted you on Saturday. I said, "Is Rahm ever not at least in the hunt?" Why do you think he's world number 1? Because that dude, I was watching the leaderboard. Rahm, I didn't know he was playing that well this tournament, but of course he was, and there he is climbing up the leaderboard, making a birdie putt on 16 or whatever to put himself, even closer in contention.
Yep.
And it's just like, man, this dude always competes.
He is. He's always in the hunt. I'm not taking that away. He has the highest winning percentage of any of the players in the top 50 at 9.8%. But it just doesn't seem like he's getting over the hump right now. He's always in it. I'd just like to see him. I'd also like to see him stop acting like a little bitch. Okay? Dude, everybody lives out putts. Quit being a bitch.
Oh, that was brutal, though.
I don't care. He makes enough putts to understand that you're going to miss some brutal putts. Okay? And, you can call it fiery, you can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, sooner or later, check your emotions. Maybe that's why you're not finishing tournaments. Maybe that's why I was telling the guys that I was talking to on Twitter, I was like, he's going to birdie 18 and go to this playoff. And then he was just so out of sorts that he didn't even come close. I mean, he blew the ball over the green. He had an easy shot in. He got into the rough, and then he went back into the rough, which was atrocious. I think he is so good. If he could ever figure his emotions out at all, he could be. He already is the best player in the world, but he could rattle wins off.
Yeah, he's definitely improved a lot. Compared to I don't know if you ever watched him at Arizona State, but that was freaking brutal.
Yeah, there's videos of that online.
Yeah,
you want to go watch.
Every shot is just it wasn't 5 feet from the hole. It's just the travesty.
And I don't have a problem with people who have high standards for themselves. I have a problem with people who let those high standards for themselves affect. He's a dude. He's a good dude. I've listened to multiple podcasts with him, and it's I wish he'd be better for the game that way. That's all I'll say.
You mean on course?
On course. Oh, he's great for the game off course. Listening to interviews with him, they're talking about on No Laying Up. He'll say something I didn't play my best out there today. I wish I would have been a little better. And then later on, he'll do another interview, and somebody will be yeah, we know you didn't play your best. And he'll be well, I didn't play that bad. And he gets defensive about it. It's
right.
You can't get defensive after you've already said it. Somebody's just repeating what you said.
Right.
Anyway, I'm not going to keep harping on Rahm because I know I'm of the minority when it comes to that. I always preface it with, he is the best player in the world. Okay, I don't deny that. It's not my guy. Notable cuts from the Farmers. Ricky got cut. Hey Joe, where you at? You checking us out today? He was no, you guys started late. I'm not going to watch. Bryson, Burns, Connors, Finau, Koepka, Spieth, and Phil all did not make the cut at the Farmers. Dubai Desert Classic. What a fun tournament to watch on Sunday morning at the ass crack of dawn because I wake up early. Victor Hovland, now number 3 in the world. You be careful about who the best player in the world is right now because he's making a little pitch for it.
Yeah, everyone's talking about when's Colin Morikawa going to take it over. Victor Hovland's done a lot of winning since Morikawa didn't become number 1 in the world.
He has 3 wins and a T4 in his last 5 worldwide tournaments.
And who did he beat this time?
What happened in the 5th one?
Well, we'll get to Rory here in a minute. Speaking of guys who acted like a little bitch this weekend, my God.
Bang, bang.
It was watching him play. It was like watching a teenager try and do something. He was just like, I was okay when he ripped the shirt. Like, fine, you're frustrated.
And lost $16 million.
But like on Sunday morning, like it was just hard to watch. Like a photographer took a photo of his backswing, which sucks, and like he made it very clear that it sucked. And then like on 18, just bogeys to lose the tournament, and like I mean, he looked like he was having no fun the entire day. It was like once that photographer snapped a picture in his backswing, there was no recovery, which is mind-blowing to me for somebody that's as good as he is and as mentally tough as these guys have to be. You'd think that they'd be used to that and be able to bounce back. He was never the same the rest of that tournament. And like, I mean, visibly irritated about it.
Even beyond that, there's just some questionable decisions down the end. Because I was talking to Dan about it. Obviously Dan's on the Rory tracker extraordinaire. But, apparently 17 is supposed to be a really tight driving hole. Hits driver, hits it into the waist area. I don't know what he ended up making, but it wasn't very.
He made par.
And then, but then on the par 5, hits less than driver. And then, which to me says, okay, we're playing this as a 3-shot hole. And then decides to go for it. I'm like, you're going. Like, let's hit driver, then hits. Let's get it out there then. But, like, it just doesn't make any sense, especially thinking of that situation. Like, birdie there wins the tournament for him. Par is a playoff.
Par is a playoff.
So, and again, Dan is right, and I'll agree with this every week. That's not giving Rory a wedge into a par 5 doesn't necessarily mean birdie. But
no, it doesn't.
But once you made that decision to hit less than driver, you stick to the game plan. It seemed to me like he was like, all right, we're gonna play this little smart, and then gets over the ball. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna let the green clear. I can get it on from here, and then it's interesting. Just hit the high cut that lands 30 yards short in the water.
Well, it's interesting. They talked about it on No Laying Up.
He should top it.
He talked about in his interview with those guys that he's going to try and find more fairways, right? And they made the point that the best part of his game is off the tee. Like, and I know he had a rough year with it last year, but he's kind of found it again, and that's been the best part of his game. And the worst part of his game is the approach and putting. And he was making this comparison on the interview to Tiger Woods, and he's like, Tiger was always so selective about when he would hit driver, when he wouldn't hit driver. And it's a great point. Like, Tiger could do that because Tiger is probably the greatest approach player around the green and putter of all time. It is a very good conversation that he is top 3 in those 3 things, right? Mm-hmm. Rory is not. Rory is not a great player because of what he does around the greens. I mean, so if you're going to try and emulate Tiger Woods, you better have some sense.
One of the greatest players to be terrible 125 yards in.
Right. Absolutely. So
where is he stretched?
That's obviously terrible as a very
not even in the picture.
I didn't even look this week. Like
I'm just saying for like last season, where was he?
I mean, you can Google it if you like. I just don't have those numbers in front of me.
What really should have done is laid up a 3-wood, hit his wedge in the fairway to 5-iron distance. Then he would have stuck it. It's probably accurate.
All right. Dick Bland loses in the playoff. What a great couple years though for Dick Bland. Number 40. He's 49 years old. He's almost in the top 50. Like he's edging his way towards a Masters appearance, which would be really cool for
inspirational.
Yeah. I want to hit on the LPGA real quick. Lydia Ko, who went through a huge struggle for a couple years, wins. It's her 17th win.
I had no idea she had won that many
times.
That was crazy to me.
She is 24 years old, and only 3 of those wins have come in her 20s. That is how good she was when she was Sawyer's age.
See, like, I didn't know that she had won that many times. So, like, the most thing I know about Lydia Ko is, like, obviously she was, like, supposed to be a phenom. And then, like, all they talked about for years is, oh, what happened to Lydia Ko? And now she's winning again. Right. She's only 24, but apparently she's also won 17 times. So, I'm like, what is happening? And I have a cool thing talking just with Lydia Ko and John Rahm, how you were saying how great he is off the course, maybe not necessarily on the course. Lydia Ko actually credited her win partially to a quote she had heard from John Rahm, saying, "It's not about how many times you hit the fairway. Golf at the end, you have to try and play and score the best you can in the circumstances." That was the mindset she took in. A great example of how John Rahm positively impacted the game, maybe without breaking a putter over his leg.
I'm never ever going to be able to say anything bad about John Rahm without everybody getting so.
Well, no, because I searched Sawyer. I just searched John Rahm because you said the thing about Shoffley. I was like, how many times has he won compared to Shoffley? And then that was the first one that popped up.
No, he has won way more than Shoffley has on tour. I'm just talking more about he's been the bridesmaid a lot.
Awesome golfer.
I know what happened to Lidiko. She signed with PXG. Went shit.
Everyone does.
All right.
Well, though, isn't Luke Lissel a PXG guy?
Yes.
Because I just saw something. My buddy,
he is.
Matt works for PXG now, and apparently PXG won the last 2 events. So everyone's like, "Ooh, PXG."
Hey, Joe's on.
There he is.
Hey.
So Danielle Kang finishes one back. Lots of youth and excitement in the LPGA right now. Seriously, a lot. Joe, what's up?
He said, my fault, boys, word calls. Didn't know you guys had ads running before getting into the show. 3 of the ads were Ricky. Big shocker.
We had ads on our show?
I don't know if that's a joke or what.
I hope it's a joke. But if we have 3 ads of Ricky on the show, he better start sending us some money. Joe's definitely kidding. He just caught me wrong there. Joe, welcome back to the podcast. Always like having you on board. Ricky sucks. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the AT&T Pebble Beach program. A solid C+ field, maybe C-. I don't know.
Let's go.
What time is it?
The AT&T Pebble Beach.
Oh, the Pebble Beach.
Yeah,
Pro-Am. Are there amateurs this year?
There are amateurs this year. So
Huey Lewis is back.
So I think the thing about this tournament is,
Right.
You look like Huey Lewis.
hey, there's nothing wrong with
You
you.
watch your mouth, Timmy.
I think this tournament aggravates me that they waste a tournament at Pebble Beach for this. Because, like, they were talking about it, like, the rounds are, like, 8 hours long because of all the amateurs. Like, so there's just that added factor to it that makes it kind of tough. But you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the top 50 there. A bunch of those guys are over in the Saudi, which we'll talk about shortly. But Patrick Cantley is there. He should be in the hunt. Not much else to say. He was tied for 3rd last year. Spieth coming off a bad performance last week at Torrey. We're yet to see if the swing change is working. He has enjoyed success at Pebble in the past, T3 last year, and a win in 17. But a far cry from that, posting a +4 last week at the Farmers, and missing the cut. What's everybody's take on Spieth? Anybody betting him this week? I mean, just because of how weak the field is, are we betting Spieth this week?
No.
Yeah,
Let me ask the Magic
He
Thomas.
played great.
Should I bet
there.
Spieth this week? No.
He played great there last year. Do you remember what he did there last year?
Yeah, he played
He
great.
played phenomenal there
T3.
last year. And is he in that current form? Who knows? This is a conversation we're going to have. I will say, shit on this tournament all you want. The most fun you will have at a golf tournament. The AT&T Pro.
Believe that.
Yeah, if you can go to it, I'm sure it's a
No, it's
blast.
not. No, it's not. Waste management.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good
Different
point.
animal.
But Pro-Am, mad fun with all the celebs. Like, you'll see Bill Murray walking around.
My thing is with the
Great
betting
Great setting.
is that it's just like all about trend. I mean, we talked about this going back to the Hero. It was like goes out, gets last. We're like, oh, it's no big deal. Like it's the Hero, it's a freebie.
Yep, but the
then
trend
comes
is
out and misses another cut, misses another cut, and another. I don't know if he lost another one, but yeah. It's not been.
no. He
Nothing about his game right now says, "Oh, I want to put $10 on Jordan Spieth to win."
I guess my question is,
especially at probably not good odds.
I guess my question is this: he had a good year last year. Why make the change? Why are we fiddling with the swing that finally got him back in the winner's circle after a 4-year stretch? And that's a question for another time when
Jordan
we're not
3.0.
Yeah, I guess. Next on the list would be number 20 in the world, Daniel Berger, last year's winner. A good pick again this year. He was T20 at the Farmers, T5 at the TOC, and T7 in the Hero. I like him to put it together this week. Ooh, here we go. Matt Fitz, Tommy's guy. Has never played great on U.S. soil. Has been good across the pond.
The USA doesn't
Hero
stand
in
for some
December.
little bitches coming playing our courses. Absolutely, he's done absolutely nothing wrong to me in my entire life. Not even like ever bet him and he did me wrong. Like I just like don't like him. For it. Yeah, it just makes me want to punch it.
Fair. Yeah. He is kind of a.
He looks like somebody that went to a British prep school and like with all boys and none of the boys liked him.
or too many of the Boy Scouts. All right. Next on the list, Thomas
Also
Peters.
fat ginger, so it's okay.
Thomas Peters coming off a big win at the HSBC 2 weeks ago and a T12 last week. He looks primed to play well. This will be his debut in the States for the season. Happy's caddy, next on the list, Will Zalatoris. Picking him again this week. We shouldn't have to explain why we pick him right now. He's playing really well. Was a cunt hair away from winning a tournament last week.
That's very small.
Kiz next on the list. Kiz has been playing good golf. Traditionally, he hasn't been great at Pebble with one top 5, with one top 10 and 5 out of 8 cuts made so far in 2020. You guys are killing me.
Get a grip over there, Timmy.
Well, how long's the course? Because if it's under 7,100 yards, he's right there. Oh,
7,000.
bet him $100. Kids win. Done.
7,051.
Podcast. He's winning.
So, well, I mean, according to his numbers this year, I wouldn't doubt it. So far in 21-22, he has three top 10s and 3 tries, tied 5 at the QBE, tied 8 at the TOC, tied 3 at the Sony. Mackenzie Hughes is next. What do we got?
Give me the Streelman this week.
Oh, you're beating me to it.
He loves this place. Him and Fitzgerald played together. I expect him to go low.
Is that
Top 15
Joe?
last year. That is Joe. Who
Joe,
else?
I got 6 straight top 20s in the tournament with a runner-up in 2020 for Streelman. Tied for 39 last week at the Farmers, and not much else to write home about this year, but good for a top 10, top 20. Joe, welcome to my world. I'm loving it. Mackenzie Hughes next on my list. Missed the cut last week, but was always a fun guy to take for a top 10. The odds are always great. Mcnealy, I just did all the guys in the top 50 here. So we'll hit the button.
Top.
Mcnealy not playing his best the last couple of weeks. Missed the cut last year with a +5.
Just a dangerous guy.
I'm going to stop you right there, Ty. I'm going to stop you right there.
Don't you read what I wrote about Justin?
I'm not
Rose?
reading about Justin Rose. You took my pick.
Who's that?
Matt Mcnealy.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to win this tournament. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I
Him or J Day are going to win this tournament.
We
So-
said Kisner's going to
Those
win.
are both.
Justin Rose.
Objectively wrong.
Jay Rosie, you old SOB. You tried to make me a believer last week, but I'm not biting. Still avoiding you like a hot bitch with a cold sore. Just stay out of my life.
You son of a bitch, I'm not in.
I hate Justin Rose. Like you hate Matt Fitzpatrick. Justin Rose.
But why? What did he ever do? He's good for the game.
He's
He's
great
like
for
the
the game.
nicest dude. Why is he top 50?
Yeah, but Ty's a Chase guy, not a Morgan Stanley. So
Yeah.
There it is.
No. He burned me a couple times last year, and my butthole's still a little singed off for it. Okay, like, yeah. So I just can't back it down.
bad memories.
Yeah. Bad memories is the best way to put it. Mav McNealy, he's my guy this week. Grew up on Pebble, shot the place up last year, and played decent last week with a T30. Final day 75 really put a damper on things at the Farmers, but I love him this week. He is top 20, top 10, top 5, and a win bet for me this week. And I will be betting a nice chunk of change.
Many
this week.
gold rings. Many
So many
gold rings.
Seamus Power next on the list. T14 at the Amex after a disappointing Sunday. I like him to bounce back this week. He's only made the cut twice and 4 chances at this tournament, but he's a different player right now than I think he has been over his career. He just looks confident. Jason Day, welcome back from obscurity. J Day played a healthy golf at the Farmers. Took home a top 5. The swing looks great, and the putter's always great. 12 for 12 in cuts made at this tournament with 8 top 10s. Tied for 7th, 4th, tied for 4th, tied 2nd, tied 5th, tied 11th, T4 in last 7 appearances there. So you're looking for a top 10 guy. There's a guy for you. Joe's pick. We got Streelman here. I already read my notes on him, but I do love Kevin Streelman this week. Another guy I like a lot is my guy Fear the Beard, Michael Thompson. He's gone T5 cut T11 the last 3 weeks. So he had a top 10 in 2020 here, and with this week of a field, I'd like him to be in the hunt on Sunday. And as his trend goes, T5 cut T11. Well, he's just going to win now.
And that beard is so manly. It could
Beautiful.
literally impregnate a woman just by them looking at him.
Yeah.
I'm not by Michael Thompson. The beard itself. It would be a beard baby.
We got another Joe comment there. No, is it the? All right, Charlie Hoffman next on the list. I feel like it's time to see Chuck back from the weekend. We know he's gearing up for the waste management as always. So.
Russell glove, baby.
Russell Knox is next on the list, tied for 7th at the Sony and missed the cut at the Amex. He has 3 top 20s and a top 10 in this tournament, and the top 10 was last year. Look for him to play well. And then the best odds you're going to have all week, like the Tom Hogue. He's gone T4, missed cut, solo second, missed cut. So obviously he's going to win it.
He's trending.
Yeah.
That's basic kindergarten math. He's
Right.
got to follow the pattern.
Had his best finish last year with a solo 12. He is 6th in the tour on strokes gained approach to the green at a course that you need to find the putting surface. So I like Tom Hogue out this.
In case you wanted to know how Tommy runs the books here at PTP, it's kindergarten math.
They're entirely factuated. Whatever the word is.
Infatuated?
That's
not
they're
the
wrong.
word.
No, I'm just kidding.
They're
They're incorrect.
Tommy Galaxy Brain.
Brian Harmon's next on the list. I got to throw a lefty in. Lanto Griffin returns, not playing after not playing last year. Was T9 in 2020. He's been playing good golf. And then basically, I put a list of guys that play well at the different courses, right? So Pebble Beach top 5 strokes gained are Joey Vanderwalt.
He has 2 rounds because apparently he's plus 3.76, but also missed the cut.
Must have played Spunk.
You've got Matthew Naismith with 5 rounds. I would bet Matthew Naismith this week. I like him a lot. Matt McNealy, we all love him. Charles Schwartzel, and then that's easy son of a bitch, Justin Rose.
Will give you 8.
Spyglass Hill, you've got Lanto Griffin, Justin Rose. God, he must play well there. Maybe I need to bet Jay Rose.
Oh, he's sucking you back in.
That cold sore.
It's gonna be a lot of friction.
I know. Spieth, Joel Damon, Daniel Berger, and then Monterey Peninsula's Jason Day, Sung Kang, Brandon Wu, Charles Schwartzel again, and your boy.
Come here,
Shut your mouth.
Can we? All right. So how do we feel about this? It's like the 3rd week in a row, or I guess they didn't last week, but like 2 of the last 3 weeks where they were playing 3 different courses.
Yeah.
Do you like that?
I
Like,
hate it.
So
it's just confusing.
it's a little confusing, but I love it, and that's
But at the
completely
same
biased.
time, from like-
100% biased.
It's biased because
Now-
he played there.
Exactly. So here's the thing, and this is an account you follow. Like it recommended it to me because you follow it
Okay.
on Twitter, and it kind of gave a little background on the tournament and whatnot. Apparently, Spyglass plays the hardest. Like the scores are the highest.
Yep.
At Spyglass, specifically when there's no wind.
Really?
Yes.
Because
Why
they're
is
calling.
that the case? Because I guess when the wind's blowing, it plays shorter.
Mhm.
However, the wind blows on that course. It's
Sure,
either
just
with or
the
into
jet
you.
stream, whatever way it comes in off the water, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Like it's like the first 5 or 6 holes are out on the water, and then it just cuts back into the trees. So you're kind of shielded from that, but that was interesting to read.
My question with that though was not with that, but like my original question was like, shouldn't it be a better viewing? Because it's like you're seeing more holes. It's not the same holes over and over again. Yet for me, I just get frustrated following along. Like I hate
lose
following a
track.
tournament where it's like Luke List, parentheses SC. Like
Right.
what? I don't know what that means. I just wanted. I can't follow 54 holes. Are you kidding me?
So for me, it's
Not that smart.
it's just a little frustrating as a bettor because certain guys are going to play better on another course. Like we talked about how the North and South course are so different at Torrey last week. But I get why they do it, especially in this format with a pro-am. Like you need that many holes, right? Like otherwise, my God, you're going to be there. It's going to be an 8-day tournament. But I just,
I guess it's a
I guess
time
I'm
thing.
thinking.
I'm biased, of course, but also doesn't it kind of add to the magic of Pebble a little bit that you don't play it for all 4 rounds like they specifically leave that 4 majors?
So yes, it absolutely adds to the magic of Pebble. That's one of the reasons why I hate that they wasted on a pro-am.
Agreed.
Okay, like that's like
It
right
could
there.
be a
Like,
more important tournament. I agree.
Watching this tournament on TV is like pulling teeth. And by the way, I want to say something about the no laying up guys. It bugs the shit out of me that a couple of the guys that are on that podcast do not watch every second of aired golf. Like, you guys, that is your job. It's not my job, and I love every fucking second of it. So if you're looking for somebody to hire to watch all the golf and give you all the highlights, you just let me know. But it's a damn shame. Like, that's what you guys do for a living and have a ton of followers. And I love the show, guys. And I'm sure you'll never see this, but holy crap, like, buckle down. Watch the golf. Like, even if you have to DVR it and watch it. Like, I sit there watching and take goddamn notes. Like, and I'm not saying that, like, that's what all of us should be doing. We don't get paid to do this. But as our audio and our production value shows. but I mean, my God, like, that's your job. You're going to sit there and talk about the podcast and do a recap every week and then do a preview every week. Like, no, be there. Make sure you know everything that's going on. But yeah, I just watching this tournament's tough to watch, and I will. I'll watch all of it, but it's tough to watch because you've got to watch Aaron Rodgers miss a 2.5-foot putt that doesn't mean anything except for the amateur combined score. And like, I guess you can bet on the amateurs this year is something that's actually happening.
We know one shot he's not going to get this weekend. The vaccine.
Oh. Jesus, we're not going there. So the next question is the Saudi tournament that's this week. A lot of top 50 players there. I mean, Jason Duffner's there. What?
Duff Daddy.
One of my favorite players back in the day.
Duff man can't breathe.
That man's got more charm now than he ever has.
I still love him. Oh no, Duff man can't breathe. Oh yeah,
that's the funniest one they ever did.
Oh.
That was so goddamn funny.
You said I wouldn't have to touch the man. Duff man says a lot of things.
Duff man says a lot of things, baby.
All right. Oh, hey Freddie, I got a movie for you. A fridge too far. Sorry. Anyway, all the Simpsons train. A lot of good names at the Saudi event. It was tough to find info on the Saudi event. Maybe because it's a new event, but I mean, you got your usual suspects to bet there. I don't know that I'm going to bet it. I'm not sure I support the Saudi event yet. How's everybody feeling about
Is
it?
this the alternate? Like,
Yeah.
This is like the Sharks.
Yeah, this is the Greg Norman thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Couldn't really care less about it.
The only thing I know is Rafa Cabrera is getting second to the fifth.
No, he's not. There's too many good players there.
That's true. It's
Like, I mean, you're talking Answer, Paul Casey, DeChambeau, Fleetwood, Garcia, Hatton,
There's like
DJ,
third purses.
Mickelson, Nah.
Yeah, well,
Neiman,
that's exactly why it's
Poulter, Shoffley.
The purse is crazy. They're getting paid to go over there, and the fact that it's an Asian tour event with the purses that big says everything you need to know. It's being funded by.
It is.
How you can have that much bigger purse and have no information on it?
I've got some here.
Oh,
So-
that's not a lot to the winner, but you know, a lot
the
of these bigger guys
winner's
are
not
getting
even
paid
making
to
$1
go
million
over
bucks. The purse is only $5 million, and the winner gets $833,333. DJ is the defending champion, so but there's a lot of really good players there. If you want to bet it, bet it. I'm just, I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I'm betting it or not.
I just don't understand why there's so many people going over it.
Because it's at Royal Greens G and CC.
Yeah, but I mean, you're saying it's for
Abdullah
money, the
Economic
purse is
City.
small, so like.
Unless golfstats.com just doesn't have the.
Correct.
But I think they are getting paid. I think there's an appearance fee.
Harold
They're getting
Varner III is getting paid an appearance fee.
Yep.
No, I don't know about that because
No.
Tommy Fleetwood on the No Laying Up podcast said he was not approached about it
Okay.
and is not getting an appearance. That's Tommy Fleetwood.
Right. But
That's a
you
bigger name than Harold Varner III.
HV3 probably is definitely getting one because the guy rocks
Yeah, but
short.
HB3's famous because he's not famous. It's like Smiley Call. Everybody go do Smiley.
No. He's not like Smiley Golf.
Harold Varner is not some like.
Harold Varner is a consistent PGA Tour card holder.
Right.
Every single
Smiley Kaufman is not.
every single person that follows golf knows who HP is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why he's getting an appearance fee.
All right, so are we talking the Saudi International, or are we skipping?
We're skipping. We're going on to the next subject. We're done with this shit.
Don't throw it at me.
I was gonna say one of these days I'm just gonna waffle you with this thing.
Wow. Today, Matt and I did an interview that we'll be posting a little bit later with his buddy DJ. Talked about some great golfers that he played with and played college golf against. It was unfortunately had some technical issues, but hopefully we can hear it when we listen to the download. And I'll edit it out and try and clean it up. Also, Matt and I will be debuting our new podcast here in the coming days, By the Book Baseball. One of the fun things about that one is we'll be creating our own Hall of Fame that'll be able to be located on our website, bythebookbaseball.com. And we have committed to making a real baseball Hall of Fame. So check that out. Let's get some golf talking. Tommy, tell us about Florida, man. How'd it go?
Man, could I knock it off the team? You know what? It's just Florida in general. It's just like you're all these small plots of land where they fit 18 holes into it, and for some reason they all chose plots of land that were originally jungles, and then so if you hit it like if you're in the fairway, you're great. If you hit it off the fairway, you're literally getting attacked by a tiger.
A tiger.
So real quick, I gotta cut you off here. Joe's got another comment here. Hey, you guys are starting the baseball podcast. Let's go. Barry Bonds better be the first one in. Joe, you absolutely know it is.
Yeah. So the way I'm going to talk to Matt about this after the pod today, but the way we're going to do it is each week we're allowed to nominate 4 guys. So we'll nominate the 4 guys. We'll post them on Twitter and we'll post them everywhere we can possibly post them and try and get votes. Every week that we come back with the amount of votes, we'll have however many votes, and then 3 out of the 4 will get in. The 4th will be put in a pot that can get in at a later time, and we'll have veto power if, like, for some reason we had 4 people and Barry Bonds was one of them and didn't get enough votes. Barry Bonds is going into this Hall of Fame because it's an actual Hall of fucking Fame, not a Hall of my writers liked me or I sucked off the guy who writes for the New York Times. So this is going to be an actual baseball Hall of Fame. PEDs were prevalent and not tested or illegal, so therefore it's just like when they took amphetamines and greenies, in my opinion. So this is going to be a baseball Hall of Fame that is documented on a website that is real baseball players that should be in the Hall of Fame. So and we will go back deep. So I have a list of players that are already in the Hall of Fame that I'll be giving Matt to take a look at. But check that out. We were talking about possibly tonight. We'll get it up there on this is. It's not going to be as much of a live podcast as pre-recorded and edited out. So we'll see how that all turns out. But yeah, Joe, hope you check it out. It should be a good time.
Back to Tommy's Florida trip.
Yes.
So I got
Getting eaten by a tiger.
I mean, anytime you get January golf, especially everything in PA is a bonus. But I did a cool thing. At least I thought was cool. Is on our story Instagram, I recapped the 4 rounds from a statistical standpoint, which I think not enough people do. And you don't have to get crazy in depth. All I did was greens and reg, fairways and reg, putts, and how many penalties I had. And it's very apparent that I need to. I mean, obviously we don't play as tight of courses up here, but driving is a point of emphasis for me. Had 9 penalties, 7 of which were off the tee in 3 rounds. Three shots around were given back, and I only averaged 8 over par. So, I mean, you take those out, that's 5 over already. So,
right.
We made some alterations to the driver when we got home. Matt, being the club expertise he is, we took a half-inch. We tipped my driver a half-inch, so it's only going to play at 45 versus 45 and a half. It's also going to be a little bit stiffer, which is a little obnoxious because there's already a Ventus Black 7X, but I just felt like I was getting a little bit too much kick. The new Adele putter. Really enjoyed that. Just great to play golf.
They follow us on Twitter now.
Oh, do they? I love that. Yeah, they used the new putter. Came home to some new wedges that I didn't get to use down there, but I'm excited to use in the future.
Can use them on this new awesome short game, Matt. That's
new short game
here at
area. We just put in a new short game area today, about 2 hours before. Dude, why?
I mean, we got 8 minutes left of the podcast. Quiet down back there.
So we
Tommy's all befuddled now.
So we got this go. We just put in a new short game area about 2 hours before this podcast started. It's a 15-foot by 20-foot area in the store that we'll be using for people to test putters, do putter fittings, and then exclusively for wedge fittings with wedge demos, not stock items. We'll let people chip certain directions.
It looks awesome.
It came in as
I think we got another piece of comment. Hey, Sawyer, you want to hop into Matt's seat since he decided to run away before the podcast ended?
So
did Joe throw another comment in there?
Tommy, where at in Florida? What courses did you play?
So I was in Estero / Fort Myers, Florida. Played what's called Raptor Bay in Estero, Fort Myers Country Club, which was one of my favorites in the area, and then Stony Brook, which is kind of like the typical public track, but always in really good shape. Has I think it's called Talon's Grip, which is like a stretch of 3 holes that are not like they're hard holes, but only because they're very tight. Not necessarily long. I think I only hit more than 4 iron once in the 3 holes. So, but very tough stretch of holes there, which is fun. But I mean, it was really nice to just get an idea, after playing, all these TrackMan rounds, where we're doing auto tour putting for the most part. Chipping's a little different because it grabs so quickly. To see where my game was really at. I mean, I'm shooting, in our league rounds, I've been shooting, 2 to 4 over. So see, I'm really shooting like 8 or 6 to 10 over. Was a little, but made me feel pretty good. It's like, all right, so we took it out to the course after not playing for, since the day we played before New Year's, and not consistently since October, and still like put up some respectable scores.
I also look at it like this: when you go from playing simulator golf to outside, there's a couple of variables that just, lives aren't flat. You're not going to be hitting a shot every 2 minutes. You're going to be hitting a shot every 5 to 7 minutes because of travel between shots. So.
I think alignment was a big thing for me, and I think that's part of the reason. Like with here, like you set yourself up, and then you set yourself like in the same angle every time towards the screen, and then having to like be like, oh, I'm on the right side of the hole, I have to aim back towards the left now. It's just like that was, I think, where I struggle a little bit more, both off the tee and not. But so I'm excited to really dial in. I think I learned. I was a little disappointed I didn't play the par 3s better because of how much work I put into my face angle and stuff over the last couple months, but I think it's got to continue to be the long game. I got to work on putting and chipping was actually pretty good. Just got to get more balls in play, not necessarily more fairways in reg, but in plays in reg. So,
how was your distances? You mentioned TrackMan versus outside. How were the distances?
So the coolest thing is 100 yards and in, especially like 60 to 40 yards. Like I would look like an asshole. I'd have like 30 yards, but my rangefinder out. I'd be like, okay, 38 yards or whatever. I know exactly how to hit that. It's like a knee-to-knee shot that I've learned in the sim. And if anything, I would land it the distance and it would roll out a little bit more. Like it wouldn't grab as much. It would still be close. But I mean, I was flying it like pin high or just short of pin high every time. And it was just like, yeah. So if you have the opportunity to get on any kind of monitor, I mean, obviously we use TrackMan here. Our friends over at Android use TrackMan, part of the reason why we partnered up. It's just a really great way to learn your distances. I mean, an extremely accurate system, but I think even more so when it comes to 100 yards and in. And if you're just beating balls into a net, it's great to have something at home. But if you're not getting any kind of feedback, it's only they're only going to go so far. So to learn what a 38-yard shot feels like and a 164-yard shot feels like, is a big thing.
Hitting balls into a net. There's 2 things you're going to improve hitting balls into a net, and that is your strike, because you're just getting reps in, and comfort. With a TrackMan, you can work on everything. I mean, there's just it's almost endless, especially for a guy like me that hitting into a net isn't going to help me at this point. It's not going to help Tommy at this point. We need to see numbers, right? Like we need to understand like, oh, okay, like, all right, I've dropped a couple pounds and put on some muscle, and now, like, just little things like that, or attack angle, things like that. We should close up shop. There's a fitting coming in at 4. It's about 350. So we'll go around one. Well, like I was like always, thank the Painted Lions for letting us use their YouTube site and their StreamYard. I want to thank Pull the Pin for having us here. Tip of the week, real quick tip.
Oh, come back to me quick.
I'll just go back to what I was saying: is keep stats.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be thorough. You don't need to get like strokes gained. I mean, you can do that, but for most people, it's not going to be relevant and it's a bit time consuming. But you should know how many greens are reg you hit, how many putts, how many. If you don't like, I don't even recommend keeping fairways in reg, especially around here because our rough's not that penalizing. How many times do you have a clear second shot to the green is important, and that's going to tell you really quick where you need to put your work in. Is it on the greens? Is it up and down? So another go on the tee. Am I not getting close to the huff on chips? Am I missing a lot of greens, or am I just constantly in the trees? And that's going to be the quickest way for you to determine where you need to work on. And then when you determine where you need to work on, go find a PGA professional, go find a teaching instructor, get on a launch monitor that can give you some kind of feedback so that you can actually make improvements and the right changes to your game.
So I'm going to piggyback off of that. My tip today was similar to that because I was watching you while you were in Florida. But the big thing that I want golfers to start thinking about is what kind of golfer are you? Okay, what kind of golfer are you? Are you the golfer that's only going to play on Saturday and Sunday? You're going to go out with your buddies. You're going to knock the ball around, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is not what I'm going with here. But if you are that kind of golfer, understand the concepts of the game. Understand that if you're going to be that kind of golfer, you can't go out there with expectations, get all pissed off, and take 5.5 hours to play around a golf. If you want to be the kind of golfer that's improving, keeping a handicap, and getting better, make that decision. Starting with keeping your stats, knowing your distances, putting some work in. There is always time, guys. I don't care if you have 15 kids and you work 2 jobs. Wake up earlier, all right? I know that I'm not going to have time at the end of the day to go to the gym, so I do it in the morning. I get up at 4 in the morning, and I get to the gym by 5, and I work out. Okay, like those are the commitments you make if you decide you want to be that kind of golfer, right? So, okay, I get an hour lunch break, and I work 5 minutes from Overlook. I'm going to drive over to Overlook. I'm going to hit a half bucket of balls over lunch, and I'm going to work on one thing that day. If you want to be that kind of golfer. You don't have to be that kind of golfer. If you want to be I'm going to go get drunk and hack it around, that's great. But don't go be that drunk that's hacking it around and be like, I should be shooting 77. No, you shouldn't. You just shouldn't. Like, I don't care how good you were at one point. If you're not going to practice, don't have those expectations, okay? Keep your stats if you want to be a golfer that's improving. If you just want to be a guy that hangs out with the guys, that's okay. Man.
So just you guys talked about it a little bit, but just to really dumb it down, practice with a purpose.
Yeah, we are.
I've talked about that with you guys and Dan Sawyer a few times. You know, for a while there, I was practicing playing every single day, 7 days a week. My best score ever is a 74. I was anywhere between 75 and 78, pretty much every round I played, but I could never really get past that hump.
Driver fittings here.
Yep. Why is that? I didn't practice with a purpose. Practice with a purpose.
All right, for Tommy, for Matt, I'm Ty. We will see you guys next week. Check out By the Book Baseball, maybe tonight. We'll see. Talk to you guys soon.